Welcome to the Breakaway Entrepreneur Podcast, where master business coach Janet Fish and her special guests explore the characteristics and traits that lead entrepreneurs to success. Get ready for real conversations of what it takes to overcome real challenges and break away from your competition. Here's your host, Janet Fish.
Thanks, Ben. If you're enjoying the podcast and want to get more engaged with the Breakaway Entrepreneur Podcast community, join our Facebook group. There's a link to it below. If you have any questions for me or suggestions on topics you'd like me to cover, please contact me at coach@breakawaybusinesscoaching.com. There's a link to that below as well. This week, my guest Matt Malouf and I discuss a number of topics: how and why to write a book, real estate investing, and Matt's TERM process for getting stuff done. TERM stands for time, energy, resources, and money. I hope you enjoy our chat. Welcome. Good morning, Breakaway Entrepreneurs. This is Janet, your host, and today I have Matt Malouf with me. I'm very much looking forward to our little conversation today. Matt, let me read your bio so we learn a little bit more about you. So Matt Malouf is a part-time investor and author with a professional degree in engineering. His niche is traffic management, real estate investing, productivity, and writing. Professionally, Matt has worked as an engineer for over 2 decades. However, Matt's zeal for problem solving has led him to explore the real estate industry. There are many parallels to project management, value engineering, and infrastructure development to entrepreneurship. Mostly the innovative problem-solving aspect and helping people live better lives. Today, he's an expert, self-taught real estate investor. I love that. I'm a real estate investor too, and I'm kind of self-taught, although I had a lot of people helping me along the way. So welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I am doing awesome. So I kind of gave our audience a little bit about you. Fill us in a little bit more. Can you tell us a little bit more about Matt?
Oh, gee, about Matt. Let's see. I graduated many moons ago as a civil engineer, and got to work in the infrastructure development space and all. And it was part of my background, and all of my dad was always in insurance and retirement planning stuff. So I believe you can never start too early to start getting ready for your retirement and all that. So after I started making a regular paycheck and all that, I had student loans. All that fun stuff. So it was kind of like, well, what can I do besides, what I'm doing right now to save for my retirement? And it's like, real estate was something that I could get behind. It's, it's physical and you can see the houses, you could do solid improvements. I could use my background in civil engineering and such to make those improvements, kind of identify potential investments and such. So slowly but surely, I kind of bought my first condo that I lived in and fixed it up, and then kept that, rented it out to move up to another house, and just kind of snowballed here and there. Took quite a few lumps in the 2008 financial crisis and such. So that and some other personal life events sort of forced me to kind of pretty much start over and all. So I took a few steps back so I could go a few steps forward, but always stuck with the real estate and real estate investing. I tried my hand in a lot of various aspects of it, from wholesaling to fixing and flipping to creative finance and landlording and such. To part of it to see what I really enjoyed, and part of it is to gain the experience and knowledge to push forward and move on. So,
yeah, I was similar. I didn't know anything about real estate except for buying my own homes. And then I started with wholesaling, and then I did fix and flips for like 8 years. Now I'm pretty well, and I've done land development and a bunch of that other things, but now it's pretty much, I just, buy and hold. And what do you like the best about investing in real estate?
The freedom it gives you to kind of express yourself as a person, as an entrepreneur, as an investor, to provide a commodity and something that people definitely need as far as housing. But you can do it in such a way when you're fixing up your house to make it, a little more ecologically friendly, environmentally friendly. You can, make it, much more energy efficient and everything for people that are eventually going to live there. It helps, bring you a little bit higher price when you eventually sell it. But then, you're also providing a good quality product that somebody can enjoy and will enjoy for many years. So it's nice to have that positive impact on people's lives and such, or you can go through, on any of the properties that we fix and such, I always try to add in some local fruit trees and such into it as well to kind of build in a little bit of that home resiliency and gardening. Because, I love gardening.
I do though. And I love that.
In the yard and stuff like that. And, a lot of people do. And, part of my personal belief to making things as economically, environmentally friendly and resilient for people is, to add some of a garden to it.
So, I have a bunch of fruit trees and a garden in my yard. So I
know and almost everybody does. And in, this new COVID day and age and such, with, people spending more time at home, if you give them something a little bit extra that they can focus their energy on in a positive manner, I think that's beneficial as well.
That's a great thing. So talk a little bit, we love to talk on this podcast about overcoming challenges. So you said early on, I don't know whether it was real estate or in other ways, you said you had some, we've all seen it. I mean, I don't know anybody who runs a business. I say this all the time. I don't know anybody who starts a business and then just makes a whole bunch of money without having those ups and downs and those challenges, which I believe actually make us stronger. The bigger the challenge, I said this all the time, the better we bounce back. But talk a little bit about your journey and some of the ups and downs that you've experienced.
Yeah. Back around 2009 or so, I'd gone through sort of a personal tragedy with a devastating divorce, and really just kind of really had to reset sort of everything in my life, personal, professional, financial, and all that, and just really take a step back to see kind of what was really important to me at the time and such. So, and that was also when I was kind of developing my term process on personal productivity and such, that it just really was just a gut punch and reality check. As maybe I was focusing on some of the wrong things as far as just kind of trying to outdo other investors or do more deals and try and make more money and just push and max, versus taking maybe a more holistic approach to happiness in life, to just to be content with some of what you have and strive every day to be a little bit better in all aspects of your life instead of just the sort of financial ledger part of it and such. So
I just want to point out for my listeners, so Breakaway Entrepreneurs, I just want to reiterate what I just heard. And I think it's just such a powerful message because as I was saying, the harder the lump, the more you change or the more you grow. And what I heard you say is you were a hard driving guy, and I know you're a super sales guy. And then something happens in your life, which happens to all of us at some time, and you've re-racked your deck, and now you've got a different focus, and I think we can all do that. We can all turn. I hate the lemons into lemonade, but I use it all the time. I don't know why, but turn a challenge into something that's more positive, or in some circumstances really can change the trajectory of your life. And I think that. At least that's what I'm hearing from you, and I think that's awesome.
And all entrepreneurs, I think, go through some version of this, where you kind of take a look at your whole person and your whole life, and your family and your friends and your spirituality and your health, your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual, all of that. At some point, in your entrepreneurial journey, something gets a little out of whack, and then sometimes that small out of whack can get bigger and bigger, and something breaks, and then sometimes it's your business, or it's your mental health, or the stress, or work, or whatever it might be. And unfortunately for me, it kind of all eventually boiled up to a head with almost everything, sort of just reaching a breaking point. So I had to do something different. I know I had to do something different, and change my outlook and change my attitude towards people and things and money and such, and work on spirituality a lot more, and all to kind of get where I want to be.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people. I was going to say that I think there's a lot of people experiencing that right now, just because of the times we're in, having to look at things very differently, just because we're in a very different place than we ever thought we would be.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, what I had gone through, 10 years ago really helped me for when this COVID stuff sort of hit, because, I was kind of ready in the sense that when I got the house that I'm currently living at, having a lot of land that we could garden and farm and do things with and kind of experiment and play around with was important. So we had a property, had a little bit bigger piece of land now. So when quarantine stuff sort of hit and all of that, we were able to just sort of readjust and refocus to doing much more gardening, much more home improvement projects, much more home built things around from sheds to workbenches to chicken coops and things like that. And, most people who know me know I'm not very good with my hands. So, working with the saws and the wood and everything, kind of nothing really comes out as straight or
doesn't matter
as good as I would imagine. But
the chickens don't care.
Not really. But it's again, it's sort of learning to embrace the learning process and sort of failing forward and just sort of figuring it out that a lot of the little details can take care of themselves, but as long as what you're trying to achieve and trying to work on and functions well or works well, and such. So,
well, tell me a little bit about. So I know that you're an author, and that's kind of how we met through Susie Pruden, who's also been on this show a couple of times. Tell me about that journey of writing a book and becoming an author, and also how you used. So tell me a little bit about how that came about. But then also, I really wanted to hear you talk, because I've heard you talk about how you use that book to really promote your business.
Oh, sure. It's maybe about 12 or 13 years ago, somewhere around there. I was thinking, I was kind of going through my bucket list in life and things that I'd done and things that I kind of wanted to do. My grandfather had recently passed away, God rest his soul. And he had said, look, if there's anything that you want to do in life, just go do it. Fail, look bad, whatever, just do it. Because I'm sitting here, my only real regrets are the things that I didn't do and such. And I was like, okay, when I was thinking of some of the things that I do still want to do, writing a book and being a published author was one of them. And I was like, okay, so how can I do this? How can I go about this? This was before Amazon really kind of took over the self-publishing space, and it was a little more of a challenge to kind of figure out the ins and outs of say publishing your own book and doing that. But it was okay. So it was something I got in my mind I wanted to do. I wanted to be a published author, and I always start with the end in mind, and then figure out your steps towards working towards that. So. I hate writing. I went into engineering because I was bad in English. It was always my worst grades. It was always what kept me off honor rolls and things like that. So I'm sure some of my old teachers are like kind of scratching their head. How can this guy write a book?
That means anybody can write a book, right?
let alone a few books. Well, the thing is, I'll let you in a little secret, is that, I might be a published author and have like 7 or 8 books, but I hate writing. And so, the thought of sitting down and actually just writing out a book, just scared the hell out of me. So what I did is like, okay, let me take a look at the process of getting a book together and try and break it down into manageable bite-sized pieces and just, go from there. So
you engineered it.
I reverse engineered it to figure out how I can get the product of writing a book done in a way that sort of fits me, my style, my personality and such. And, I put together the outline and then just dictated into a microphone and then transcribed the dictations for a while, and went through many iterations with a professional copy editor and such to make it a lot nicer and all. And, it took a while. I had to hire and fire a couple of different people to help get it done and sort of just fail forward and figure it out. And I kept track of the process as much as I could. And once I sort of figured that out, it was not too bad. So I wrote a couple of other books, but, really, I wanted to be a published author to sort of help promote my name and my brand and such for real estate and real estate investing. And I used basically the book as a marketing tool to say, hey, I can help you with finding, foreclosed investment properties, and allow me to help you, guide you a little bit. And most people have $20 to spend on a book and get some knowledge and information that some seminar gurus will charge $1,000 for,
Sure.
with the bells and the whistles and the lights and all this fun stuff. But I wanted to write like practical sort of how-to books that people can pick up, they can read and be done with in under 2 hours, and have something actionable that they can take away from. And also that's what I wanted to write, and the type of things I want, because that's what interests me, and that's what I like, is something I can just pick up and be done with an hour, 2 hours max, and be like, okay, there's 2 or 3 solid action steps that I can take to work towards what I want to do. So really, I use the book as a kind of a marketing ploy to bring in more clients and more partners and stuff. I actually had licensed the book to a few real estate agents over in the Midwest and in the South, where they could legally market a free book to clients to bring in leads. And we designed a whole sort of lead conversion funnel and process for them to sort of do that and all. And that's, really how I made my money back on the book in the beginning and such. And it also helped kind of get my name out there in investing circles and things like that. And it was a lot easier to find business partners and people.
Yeah, I am. So I have 5 books. So I've been doing, and I've done it some with publishers, and then I would never do anything but self-publish today. But that's a whole different story. But it amazes me, one, how few people actually have books. So that when you say I'm a published author or I'm an Amazon best-selling author, people that garners so much clout, that because we know what it's like to write a book. Well, I know what it's like to write a book, and I know how you get it to be a best-selling status. It's not rocket science and all of that. There's a formula to it. But so it still never ceases to amaze me how much clout you can get by writing a book. And like I said, I've written 5. I've written a couple of blogs on how to easily write a book. There's some processes. And I think I'll put a link to how to write a book below. We also have some great resources of people who publish books. But I think writing a book is one of the best things you can do. My book is, it's only this big. Like, you've got your book, we'll show yours in a bit, but like, it's only this big. Like, it's $3.21 to print the book. It's $3 or whatever to send it. I use it, and I want to hear a little bit more about how you use yours. But I use mine whenever I go anywhere, or when I used to go places, I take it with me. When someone's on my podcast, I send it to them as a gift. So expect that in the mail in a couple of weeks.
And you as well.
Exactly. Whenever I have a conversation with someone who is interested in, moving their business to the next level, whether it's a working with me or just, I will send them a copy of my book. So there's a bunch of ways that I use it. I remember I used it. I was going through a lot more copies of the book when we were out actually face to face talking to people or speaking and all of those kinds of things. I'll sell them. So give us some ideas of how you use your book to promote your business.
One of the ways, which was always great, was I at seminars and such, when I'd go set up my little space, I'd put a fishbowl out with a little note that said, win my book for free, leave your business card. And I just have a couple of the books sitting down and around next to the, here we are.
There we go. Yeah.
Next to where I'm sitting. And people just stuff the business cards in there. It's a great way to build your list. And I would send the first chapter for free via email to everybody, and then select 2 or 3 copies to send an autographed copy to, and such at the end. And it's a great way to build your list, great way to build some credibility of people kind of interested in that. And all, it's a great way, instead of bringing up a business card, especially if you want to go meet or network with one of the main keynote speakers and things like that in events and such. Whenever I've been asked to give opinions or speeches and such for government officials and and private equity investors, things like that. I always, give a few copies to people in the room and the board that are, seeking some advice or guidance and such. So it's always a good sort of credibility and relationship builder, something tangible that somebody can take away. Because I'm old enough to really, I enjoy the physical paper books and such. Even though I have many books on ebooks and Kindle and stuff, I still really enjoy the physical book, and a lot of books that I have too. I have all tabbed up with the notes on the side and things like that, which is really good.
Yeah,
that's my personal preference, and I enjoy it. And some of my clients, some of my friends do all the notations and things like that on their PDF, and I'll do it in a more digital sense,
right?
With the note taking and the highlighting and things like that. But I still kind of preferential to paperback and old school.
Well, I think if it's a business book, I'm the same way. If it's like if I'm reading just a casual book that for entertainment's sake, I might do it on my phone. But if I'm doing a business book, I want to highlight and I want to make notes, and so for me, it's having that physical book is important as well. So there's something. And I don't remember what it is, but tell me, it was really a cool idea, and I'm sorry I don't remember it, but you will remind me of what you do. Like if people go and leave a comment, testimonial comment or review on your book, you do talk about that.
Oh, usually if people leave a review on the book or a review on my social media or website and such, and send me a screenshot or let me know that they did that, then I'll put in a pool for an Amazon gift card.
Okay, so that's a great idea to get more people into reviewing your book. I remember you did something. I know I wrote it down somewhere, but it's more just trying to create like a two-way communication street and process, conversation
and such for people that are interested, and kind of make them help feel a little involved and such with the project, and if there's any feedback that they have and things like that, helps for the next version and iteration and stuff. Because back in the old day, when I first published my book, I had to order like 200 copies or whatever it was. So like if you wanted to make changes, it was kind of a long, drawn out process, and kind of mind-numbing to be honest at the time. But you see now with Amazon self-publishing and all, you can go through and make changes, relatively quickly and easily and such. And you even take some of the reviews that you might get and put them back into part of the body of the book.
Yeah.
Then help resell and do that. So
awesome. So what's next? Well, I'll ask the question in two ways. As we do that, we're taping this. It's November 9th. So we've been in COVID pandemic since March into April, so however many months that is.
Forever.
Forever. It seems like forever. So tell me how you have changed your business, and how COVID will change your business going forward into 2021.
For me, it hasn't changed that much, because most of my consulting business is done online and over the phone and such. So I've been very blessed to be able to continue that and all. And then for real estate, I actually specialize more in investing out of the area. Properties where I live in Southern California is just quite expensive and not very landlord friendly. So a bulk of the properties that I've owned and flipped and worked on in the past have been in the southeastern part of the United States and some in upstate New York and such, and actually mostly out of the country as well. So I have a few properties out of the country that I'm working on and continue to work on.
So COVID hasn't really affected any of that?
Not much, no. It's actually it's actually been a lot easier to find some properties in areas. I'm usually in the real blue collar working, and lower income areas is sort of my specialty.
Has it affected investors' willingness to invest, or has it changed the way that they think and react?
Yeah, I think from what I've seen, investors that have been around longer than 7 or 10 years are, looking to expand and acquire more properties and such now much more actively.
Mm-hmm.
And investors with a few years experience kind of like they're half in and half out. So they want to get something, but then they're, over analyzing, and the numbers and the metrics are really off for this year compared to, when you start tracking back a few years, because,
Yeah.
Really I look at investing as more of, or real estate investing is more of a job spot, really at the end of the day.
Say that again. More of a what?
More like of a jobs bond.
Okay.
It is at the end of the day, people are living where the work is and stuff. So everybody says location, 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 but if that was the case, then nobody would lose money on beachfront houses. And that's just not the case. It's the right property for the right person in the right place and such. So now with this shift to remote work, the suburbs of across the U.S. and mostly in low tax jurisdictions have really gone up a lot. But
sure.
When you look at areas to invest in,
commercial buildings in San Francisco and any other big city are sitting there, Sacramento, whatever, they're sitting there empty, right?
Yeah, and
so that's an opportunity. I mean, I look at that like that's the opportunity right now.
Oh yeah, I think there's so many ways to repurpose a lot of these old malls,
absolutely,
and auto dealerships and things for whether it's housing or a new form of entertainment style or things. There's a lot of opportunity there and how you look at the problem and define it.
Yeah.
But real estate investing is always about where the jobs are. So before, let's say 2020, the jobs are. You look at where the main area of where the jobs are, and then people are going to live within 60 to 100 miles of that will be sort of your investment thesis and investment area. So where Tesla's putting in a new auto plant, or Toyota or GM are putting in new parts plants and things like that. And people are going to be working there. And you look at the other driving factors for if it's in military areas, large universities, research institutions, things like that. Basically where the jobs are. Now the jobs can be anywhere, literally. And you can live anywhere and work, almost anywhere else. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that trend continues over the next 5 years when this is over and we're in whatever new space we're going to be in, whether everyone flocks back or whether there's more of a permanent change or whatever that looks like in between. I think it's going to be really fascinating to look at that.
I think a certain amount of remote work on a permanent basis is here to stay, probably in the 5 to 20%.
Yeah, I think. I was going to say, and I know that remote Zoom networking from my perspective is never going to go away. Like I don't need to get in a car every single time when you can do what I've been able to do to grow my business, sitting in my office with my computer, doing Zoom calls, all day long. I mean, I've got a lot of business from that, and I think that's probably here to stay as well.
I think so too. And I've seen a few larger organizations and companies, not necessarily tech companies, but larger organizations that have sat back and said, you know what, we can maybe cut 5 to 15% of our operational costs for the company by, redistributing the workforce.
Absolutely.
And allowing a certain percentage of people to just stay on remote work permanently and then only come into the office as needed. So really, I think probably the future of business travel will be somebody going from, like El Paso, Texas to San Francisco to go to the office for a couple of days for the month. Before they go remote work back for the rest of the month.
That could very well be the case.
And I think that will be more the future of business travel than somebody getting on a plane and going, from El Paso to San Francisco for a business meeting.
Yeah.
Such.
Well,
and those will be far between.
Yeah, I love real estate. I'm not super active in it. I do have a ton of investments and all of that, but I love real estate, and I can tell you that I'm just looking at the opportunities that are coming out of this time, which I think are all going to be a big city commercial, like we talked about. But yeah, I think it's a really, really interesting time. Okay, my last question is, you talked a little bit about a term process. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Oh yeah, that's my proprietary patented process that I came up with for basically being as super productive as you can. It's called TERM, which is time, effort, resources, and money. So when you kind of take an entire look at your business, at your life, goals that you're trying to achieve, everything takes some amount of your time,
Sure.
of your personal effort and energy, some of your resources that may not be what you think, and some of your money. So you can speed up the time portion and put a lot less time in sometimes if you throw a lot of money at something, and vice versa. If you don't have the money allocated for it, you can spend a lot more time learning that for free or for cheap and such. So when those things sort of get out of balance, especially as an entrepreneur, and you can kind of start noticing certain parts of your business suffer, whether it's your marketing, your intake, your lead conversion, your operations, taxes and investing side and such. Some little portion will suffer. So usually I'll sit and help entrepreneurs kind of go through a whole term process to figure out, okay, what little tweaks and adjustments can we make, to either get you back on track or raise your profitability.
Awesome. And is that spelled out in the 22 Secrets to Success and Wealth Creation? Is that talked a little bit about in that book?
I didn't include it that much in there because I actually, was wanting to write an entire book on it, and had got tons of notes and Post-it notes and scribbles and recordings and things of what I wanted to do with the term process and book and such. And it really wasn't until I met Susie that kind of helped me target and focus it a little bit more, and added into my resource box some of those resources that I really needed to put everything else together to push it in.
Yeah. So is that a book yet to come?
So that's currently in the queue with Itty Bitty Publishing.
Does it have a name yet?
The amazing Itty Bitty book on getting stuff done.
All right, good.
And
okay,
also
so
we kind of took it towards, instead of focusing on just entrepreneurs, Susie thought it would be better to expand it to just take a goal. And we take a goal or an outcome that we want to achieve in life in the center, and then we focus our term completely around it. And the whole book is really going to be a how-to on doing your own term analysis for yourself for whatever you want to achieve in life.
And so when do you think that's going to be published?
Hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah,
it's in the queue. We're still kind of working on it and finishing the last little tweaks and things like that. But,
all right. Well, so maybe I'll have to have you come back on when that finally gets published.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you can promote that. But right now, hold up your book again.
Here's a big one. 22 Secrets to Success and Wealth Creation. All the little habits, tips, tricks, and things that I've learned in the School of Hard Knocks on trying to become successful, not just financially, but just, everywhere in life that you can.
Awesome. All right. So there is a link to the book down below. Matt, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your time this morning. Now it's moved into afternoon. All right, Breakaway Entrepreneurs, I always want to remind you that success starts with your mindset, but it takes massive action to get you there. So once again, Matt, thank you for your time. And until next week, I'm going to have Ben take us out.
Thank you for listening to the Breakaway Entrepreneur Podcast. If you like the show, please rate, recommend, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts so we can share more actionable insights with the entrepreneur community. Until next time, challenge your mindset, be bold, take action, and financial freedom will follow. You can get helpful resources and templates to guide and inspire you from Janet's free Breakaway Entrepreneur Toolkit. Get it now by going to www.breakawaybusinesscoaching.com/toolkit.